Right, so it's nearly that time of the year when all the new kits start to leak, and we're going to be making sure that we cover them all on Club Footy because we love talking about that, basically. So today we're going to start with Manchester United's kit. Now, these are obviously unconfirmed rumours, but they're pretty good rumours. Thanks once again to Footy Headlines for all the pictures that we're about to nab off their site to make this video. But it looks like Man United's kit for 2019-20 season is leaked. So we're going to look at that today and try and give you a little bit of an idea what you can expect the likes of Pogba, if he's still there, Martial, Rashford, and all that lot under Solskjaer will be wearing next season. Now, these pictures, how reliable is Footy Headlines, Phil, in general?
In general, pretty good. You probably would have come across them because they are sort of the go-to guys for this sort of information. And yeah, I have to say, I mean, especially given that picture on the wood there, looks very much like the actual kit. And it confirms some early thoughts that they had. So yeah, probably reliable.
So basically, the takeaway thing that we noticed here from these release photos, obviously they're all watermarked to hell here, so you got no choice but to kind of look through that. But what we can see there is the obvious callback to the 2009 kit, sorry, 1999 kit, sorry.
Yep.
The, it pains me to say, I blanked that out of my memory as a City fan. But in general, that was obviously the 20-year anniversary of when they won the treble.
Yep.
So they've gone back to that, kind of gone back to that logo, which is the main thing here. Obviously, as well, it's the circle in kind of gold.
Yep.
They've obviously still got that Chevrolet logo, unfortunately, as well. But this kit, what is your take on this then so far? What you've seen so far on it?
I think the biggest thing, like you say, is obviously the reference to 1990. If you thought Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being a manager wasn't a nostalgia trip enough,
yeah, wow,
this is doubling down. So it seems perfect from that perspective. And I think actually the kit, it's obviously a real departure from this year where you had the big black kind of gradient graphics. So it's it's nice to see a flip back to a much more understated look. Interesting to see the white shorts look like they're coming back.
Yeah.
So that's a big change.
I don't know what United's take on that as in general, as a club. Do they prefer that or do they prefer black? I can't remember.
I think a lot of fans seem to not be too keen on the black, which
that's
is interesting.
What I feel like I remember as well.
Yeah, and so I think this will be quite a crowd-pleasing kit for the fans, certainly. I like the fact that I'm not the design of the shield crest is quite a bit much for me, but it does reference that 99 kit quite nicely, so fair play. It is really hard to look past the sponsor.
I don't think I could say I like that shield crest as a City fan, but I quite like the style what they've done with it.
Yeah, it's very different. It feels very 90s.
Adidas in black as well, which is interesting. Obviously, it was white this year, so that's kind of more understated look.
I think you talked about the sponsor as well. It's a real shame because every year since they've had Chevrolet, it was the same when they used to have Nike kits with Chevrolet. It literally ruins every single home kit. And this one, given how understated the design is, you've got the Adidas stripes on the shoulder, really clean.
Yeah, they're nice and like slightly dark shade, really, but they're not as prominent as most Adidas ones are.
Exactly, and I think it looks even more it makes the Chevrolet sponsor look even more of an eyesore. To have it in black at least, or
can you imagine them doing that?
Yeah, I mean, because I saw a recent picture. I think it was Germany's training kits. They had what looks like a reworked Volkswagen sponsor, and it just basically that design was really simple. It took what we're used to seeing that sponsor, but basically they've kind of stripped it down to a much more simple look. In essence, if Chevrolet did that, it goes from being an okay kit to a good kit.
It's never going to happen. It's so important for these designers. Interesting enough, this absolute hero has mocked up the kits by, this is Ariel Edson. He's mocked them up in Pro Evolution Soccer, which is, I'm sure they're very happy about this actually, Pro Evolution. He's mocked the kits what they look like on the pitch in digital format. It's great. I mean, fair play to people who do this.
And this is the future of leaks. Obviously, people have been doing this for a while, but it's quite funny to see. It's a nice way of looking at the kit. They're rendered to real good detail there. When you look at it on there,
there's a contrast difference though, isn't there?
There is a bit, yeah. One comment which I saw, which I thought was quite apt, was that it looks kind of like a Nike kit, just that happens to have an Adidas logo on it.
And I think there's what's that based on?
So I think in it, because the Three Stripes branding is almost invisible.
Yeah.
If you don't look at that, it kind of looks a lot more.
The neck looks like an Adidas shirt to me because it's I associate Nike with having weird necks.
They do have weird necks.
Whereas Adidas are more kind of they're more kind of just usual round neck kind of shaped.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think just as a whole, it is actually quite a good kit.
What's your overall birds on this kit? If this is the kit, of course.
Well, I think if this is, I do prefer this to the current home kit. I think, if we ignore the sponsor, actually this does more I think more than the Larson kit, which had an interesting idea, but it felt the design wasn't particularly nice.
To me, I'm going to disagree. I'm not just trying to put club bias in it. I think it's quite a boring kit, if I'm being honest. Like,
well, you know what? It is quite boring. That's a fair point.
The United 299 kit had colour, didn't it? It had a colour from what I remember. Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
It had more white on it as well, I think. I'm going to Google it now. Man United 99 kit. So just killing time here as the Google search will come up. Yeah, that was Umbro, of course. It was obviously it was just bolder, but I remember that, and I'm surprised they haven't gone more of a reference for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Champions League kit. They had a Champions League kit that day, didn't they? Is that
it
right?
is that. So that's the one there, which is. I think you're right in that it's missing for it to be a real tribute. The collar element is obviously quite key, but I quite like the other references. I think for the most part, it's sort of enough of a nod to be.
Do you think okay? This is what we're going to see from other Adidas shirts in general? Do you think they're going to be a very similar kind of style to this? Can we expect this from some of the other big Adidas teams?
It's a really good question. I think the biggest thing.
Who else? So who would it be? Maybe Bayern, Real?
Well, you've got Arsenal.
Arsenal as well,
was a big one. I think with Arsenal, obviously, there's been lots to talk about the away shirt. We did a video on that actually, so check it out. Which is a really good one. And I think obviously last year there was a lot of retro callbacks with their World Cup kits. So I think you're right. There will be, at least for one of the sort of home, away or third kits for most of the big teams, you'd expect to see that.
Well, I mean more just in terms of like the template, like the slightly faded
stripes,
that kind of thing. Do you think it's more of a hint?
That has been happening for a few teams.
Especially the collar as well. That looks distinctive enough to be a mainstay, the thing around the neck there.
Yeah, I
would say that looks like
it's very much, same with Nike, more of a sort of tweak, evolution rather than revolution.
Yeah, it's not a massive difference, is it?
Definitely that. But in terms of the three stripes, you're going to see that for some teams and not for others. Some teams will have kind of two colours, so the kind of approach that we saw with the Sao Paulo kits. Again, we did a video on that.
Check it out.
As well as the Belgium away kit last year. So in general, the three stripes or the approach to that is always going to rotate. But I particularly like the way they do it. On this kit.
In general, I think it's all right. I think it's okay. It's okay. It's not a bad kit. I think that's a fair thing.
Okay.
Now, obviously, we don't know for definite if this is actually the kit. I mean, the chances are it's pretty likely. These leaks look quite legit, don't they?
They do.
Either that or someone's just hoodwinked us all there. 40 headlines are usually on these kind of things in terms of leaks. And obviously, we will keep you updated if a more refined version arrives in terms of leaks or images or something like that. If it's not announced anytime soon, anyway, I expect it probably will be inside the next month, I reckon, maybe.
Yep.
But anyway, guys, let us know what you think of that Manchester United kit. And don't forget, this is literally the best place on YouTube to find all the kit links, all the kit leaks for the next season. We'll be making sure we cover every single kit for the Premier League and Serie A maybe and La Liga going into next year. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Anyway, I've been Stephen, this is Phil, and we will see you soon.